am Councilwoman Jane Bonner, and welcome to Sound Beach. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for this episode of The History Upon Our Shores. Today we will be covering a North Shore Long Island town known as Sound Beach, New York. Sound Beach is located almost equidistant between New York City and Montauk Point and sits approximately 16 miles south of the Connecticut shoreline. At its widest point, it is just over 2 miles, but most of its borders and shorelines are just around 1.5 miles wide. At a total of 1.6 square miles, Sound Beach would fit nicely within Midtown Manhattan. With its rocky coastline and 100-foot-high cliffs, its formation, like many towns on the North Shore of Long Island, can be traced back to the glacial period of around 21,000 years ago. These glaciers left behind moraines of gravel and loose rock, making up the land as we know it today. Some of the earliest records of Sound Beach reflect that a man by the name of Noah Halleck Jones lived and farmed in the area. We can see his name on this 1873 map where Sound Beach is located today. Noah had a prosperous farm, producing many bushels of corn and other crops. Noah also had several animals, 2 of every species. Wait a moment, that's a different story and a different Noah. Sound Beach Noah did, however, have cows, poultry, and pigs. Charles Jones, Noah's son, ended up owning and farming much of the land now known as Sound Beach. It wasn't easy to keep up with the Joneses. Noah Halleck Jones is in fact a descendant of the Noah Halleck of neighboring Rocky Point. The Noah Halleck homestead was built in 1721 and is the oldest standing home in Rocky Point today. It is believed that Noah Halleck Jones and his family are buried nearby in Seaview Cemetery in Mount Sinai. I decided to take a ride to see if this was true. I give up. I've been looking and looking and looking. The grave of Noah Halleck Jones, you're supposed to be here. Where are you? Unbelievable. It's got to be here somewhere. There it is! I found it. So Noah's here, and then we know that Adelia, his first wife, died at a very young age and left him with young children to raise. He then got remarried to Sophronia Brown, and that's not uncommon. But eventually she died too. And somebody decided let's bury everybody together. Who's on top of who? I can't figure this out. Needless to say, Noah H. Jones is here at the Seaview Cemetery, Mount Sinai, New York. Pretty cool stuff. Thomas Blythe Scott was another farmer in the area, owning more than 300 acres. From Woodhull Landing to North Country Road, the Scott family raised horses on a prosperous farm, and their properties can be seen in this 1917 map. In 1929, a New York newspaper known as the Daily Mirror had an interesting idea to gain subscribers. Using a tract of land they developed in the area, they offered 20 by 100 foot lots of land for only $89.50. The only catch was you had to subscribe to their newspaper. The marketing technique worked. Folks started coming to Sound Beach as a vacation destination. Most of these middle working class new residents came from Brooklyn and Queens. They started with erected tents and outhouses and later built small bungalows. The hamlet of Sound Beach was born. For almost 40 years, Sound Beach remained a summer community, but over time many of the bungalows were modified to become year-round homes. In 1940, there were 185 people living in the town full-time. And according to a recent census, there is now over 7,800. In the summer months, these early residents would flock to the beach. They would swim, boat, and fish for local species. Stories of porpoises playing in the surf are still told today. Around the time of the 1940s, New York City was in need of cordwood to fuel their booming industry. Local farmers would cut down hardwood trees, and using horse-drawn wagons and sleds, they would haul the logs to the beaches that provided sloping access. Sailing ships loaded with rocks from quarries along the Hudson River would beach themselves at these access points, and as stone was unloaded on one side of the ship, cordwood was loaded in its place on the other, and the exchange was made. Many of these stones, not indigenous to this area, were used on local properties and can still be seen today. Interestingly, many of these landing points still carry their names. Woodhull Landing and Hagerman Landing, for example. Around the same period of time, the opportunity to buy lots of land through the Daily Mirror continued on and attracted many folks from diverse backgrounds. One such group were Spanish settlers in Brooklyn who had emigrated from southeast Spain. Attracted by the opportunity to hunt pheasant, they bought small lots around Shelter Drive in Sound Beach and built bungalows for weekend and summer use. Their community became known as the Sound Beach Spanish Colony, but among themselves they referred to it as El Paraíso, Paradise. Today, there are many descendants of the Spanish colony still living in the area. Families by the name of Lopez, Galvez, Rodriguez, Castillo, and Contreras, to just name a few. A few years ago, 20 members and/or descendants of the Sound Beach Spanish colony came together at a monthly meeting of the Sound Beach Civic Association. It was in October of 1930 that the Sound Beach Property Owners Association filed a certificate of incorporation. The next year, parcels of land were deeded to them by landowners George and Florence Dutese. The Property Owners Association was entrusted with ensuring the quality of life in our hamlet, This included maintaining the beaches and roads, and eventually a clubhouse was erected on Malba Drive, and steps to the local beaches were built. On March 5th, 1940, fire destroyed the clubhouse, and just a few short months later, a new clubhouse was built, which remains standing today. This happens to be the highest point in Sound Beach. The association also erected a community house right in the town square, which housed the police department, a highway department, the sanitation department was there. It was even the location of the first Sound Beach firehouse. So, the only thing missing was selling pizza and ice cream, and then you would have it all. This building remains today and is owned by realtor Bob Bedrosian. On the bluffs at the West Ramp Beach, the Property Owners Association also erected a pavilion for the residents to sit and enjoy the view of the beach and the sound. In the mid-1940s, the condition of the pavilion began to fail, and it collapsed completely in the late 1950s. It was rebuilt, but was again destroyed by a nor'easter in the 1970s. Many functions now under the authority of the town of Brookhaven and Suffolk County were originally handled by the Property Owners Association. This document, from 1938, delineates how the $8 membership fee was expended. This included police, garbage removal, and more. This 1967 membership card reveals that at the time, the garbage collection was still being handled internally within Sound Beach. Long Island water comes from aquifers deep beneath the earth. In Sound Beach's earliest days, the Property Owners Association installed numerous water pumps that would pull water from underground wells. There were pumps at the beach, at the clubhouse, at the community house, and other locations. Many homeowners installed their own wells on their property, and some are still in use today, although mostly used as a garden water source. It was in 1967 that the Suffolk County Water Authority brought water to Sound Beach when water mains and fire hydrants were installed. Prior to 1960, law enforcement in Suffolk County was the responsibility of local towns and villages. While part-time constables were commonplace in the 1800s and earlier, in the early 1900s, Sound Beach formed its own police force to handle all forms of public safety, including providing lifeguards and more. This priceless photo depicts the police department in 1933. Things changed in 1940 when Sound Beach asked the town of Brookhaven to provide supplemental police in the winter. Consolidation of many police agencies eventually occurred, and on January 1st of 1960, the Suffolk County Police Department was formed with 619 members. Sound Beach became a wonderful escape for the middle class and brought joy to so many. Longtime resident Mimi Hodges has been quoted as saying, "Most of us here, we thought we were growing up in the Garden of Eden. It was just fantastic." And Jimmy Henke, a resident since 1944, said that his 77 years here and the friendships he has made over those years will keep him in Sound Beach forever. The residents enjoyed heading out to not only shop at the local stores, but to socialize too. The MB Sweet Shop was a popular destination for ice cream just off Sound Beach Boulevard. You may recognize it as it exists today, as La Familia Pizzeria. Saturday night brought dancing at the clubhouse and bingo to the community house. A trip to the beach pavilions was rewarded with hot dogs, ice cream, and sodas from the concession stands there. And in the 1960s, with two stables in the area, horseback riding was enjoyed on the local wooded trails. In the summer, the beach was the place to be. Folks gathered to not only swim, but to spend time with friends and neighbors. Around the 1950s, a large group of kids who called themselves the Hobos would meet regularly to swim and play games. Little did they know they would be forging lifelong friendships. Just how did they survive without smartphones and video games? During the war, the coastline was kept as dark as possible, with all lighting being dimmed or eliminated. In 1942, the community house was used as an air warden station, guarded 24 hours a day. There was even a civil defense lookout tower at Sound Beach Boulevard and Cavilton Road. The tower was torn down after the war, but rumor has it the remnants of the base remains. Alright, so I had to find out. I came out to the corner of Cavilton and Sound Beach Boulevard, trying to take a look for the remnants of this tower, the base of it. Not here, can't find it, don't know, but hey, maybe this just needs to remain a Sound Beach mystery. Well, the war continued, and folks kept their eye on the Long Island Sound. The sight of U.S. ships maneuvering made everybody feel safe. Soldiers were known to patrol the beach, and the local residents would bring them baskets of biscuits and actually metal pails of coffee. This is one of those actual pails still in possession by longtime Sound Beach resident Nancy Paul. Throughout Sound Beach's history, the town square has had numerous businesses come and go. There was Mr. Marvin's Candy Store, Tony and Sally's Variety Store, gas stations, Mary Beth's Dress Shop, Nat Goldberg's Laundromat was on this corner, and even a place called the Ice House, where the collision shop of Matt's One Stop stands today. Many of the properties in the town square were owned and rented out by Arthur Kalachi Sr. He was nicknamed Pidgey and was the de facto mayor. Hey, every town has one, right? Arthur ran the Superior Food Market, which sold everything from vegetables to meat to bakery products, and even mail from the Miller Place post office could be picked up in the back of the store. In this photo, we can even see gas pumps on the side of the building. Here is how the property appears today, a familiar sight to many locals. The first Sound Beach post office was in the corner of Journal Square. It thereafter moved to the building on Babel Road, which is now utilized by the Sound Beach Fire Department. But today, the Sound Beach post office can be found right on New York Avenue. Let's not forget Moeller's General Store, right in the corner of town. The Moeller family did not have a long commute to work. They lived right upstairs. The building remains there today. This building just next door was previously the location of so many bars, such as Duffy's in the 80s and 90s, to Chan's and Shenanigans, Hilda's Happy Haven, and so many more. But most notably, at one point, it was Paul Berlenbach's Ringside Restaurant. So, who is Paul Berlenbach, you ask? Well, Paul was also known as the Astoria Assassin and was the World Light Heavyweight Boxing Champion in 1925. He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2001. But it was when he retired in the 1950s that he owned and operated the Sound Beach Ringside Restaurant. In the late 1930s, the Kalachis built a restaurant that over the years held many names, such as Cataldo, Shorty's, and Boyle's, but most people, however, have known it as the Heartland Inn. Sadly, after 25 years, the Heartland owners have moved on. The first real estate office in town was run by Ed Olson. Look familiar? How about now? That's right. It's where Handy Pantry and the Sound Beach sign is located today. Pretty cool, huh? And say hello to Dominic Scotto, the owner of Scotty's Deli. Many referred to the deli as the heart and soul of Sound Beach, and the area around it was known as Scotty's Corner. Around the deli, there was Louis Bugliotti's Barbershop and Coletti's Bar and Grill, which later became known as Frank Fiedler's King of Clubs. Here is what Scotty's Corner looks like today. Hey, what's your street name? I don't mean like P. Diddy. I'm talking about the street where you live. Did you ever notice that Sound Beach has the majority of its streets named after other towns on Long Island? This makes current residents to feel at home as they drive down the streets named after towns that may be from their past. Sound Beach may be the only town in America with the majority of its streets, over 100, named after other towns. Pretty neat. It was on July 4th in 1930 at Olympia Hall in Astoria, Queens, where the Sound Beach Fire Department was first organized. The next year, it was incorporated, and William Harrison served as the first chief of the department. Meetings were held in members' homes and New York City hotels during the winter. But in the summer, the Sound Beach Community House is where they met, as it was the first established firehouse. In 1944, a new firehouse was built on Sound Beach Boulevard, and it remained there until 1990 when the 6-bay firehouse that stands today was built. One of the first pieces of firefighting equipment purchased by the department was a 1939 Diamond T rotary gear pumper. It is still owned by the department today, and the department has now been in service for over 90 years and has 15 other vehicles and a boat as well. In the early days, before sirens were utilized in the 1940s, fire gongs were manufactured from railroad locomotive driving wheels. An iron maul was used to ring out a code that identified the location of the fire. That code was then echoed at multiple fire rings or gongs spread out around the town to alert all of the firefighters of where the fire was. One of the last known fire rings is still on display behind the firehouse. Come on down and check it out. This 1950s photo is of some of the members of the Ladies Auxiliary of the Sound Beach Fire Department, which was originally formed in 1934. The auxiliary continues its support of the fire department. Each Christmas, they coordinate a party for the children of firefighters. They place flags on the grave sites of firefighters and even collect food for the St. Louis de Montfort outreach. Sound Beach does not have its own school district, but rather the Miller Place and Rocky Point school districts have Sound Beach students in their attendance. Back in the 1960s, in this general area of Echo Avenue, there was a pre-K school established. In later years, Sometime around 1974, it was relocated to the building behind Veterans Memorial Park, where it remained until the early 1990s. With Sound Beach students being common to both the Rocky Point and Miller Place school districts, an ongoing field hockey competition between the school districts results with each year's winner receiving a trophy known as the Sound Beach Stick. This tradition began in 1958 and continues on today. The Sound Beach Community Church, known as the Little Church on the Hill, was established in 1953. In 1956, several women in the congregation spearheaded a fundraiser called Miles of Pennies. This was to raise funds to build the parsonage and sanctuary, for at the time services were being held in the basement. With thousands of pennies donated, the church was completed in 1958. Around the same time and just down the road, a 10-acre site was established on New York Avenue, and a little wooden frame church was built known as St. Louis de Montfort. The congregation kept growing. A larger church was built, but sadly destroyed by fire just 1 year later. The cross overlooking New York Avenue today is the only remnant left from that original white church. But hey, take a look at the beauty of the St. Louis de Montfort Church as it exists today, one of the more magnificent structures that we have here in Sound Beach. This town now has 2 amazing places of worship. Can I get an amen? Amen. I didn't hear you. Can I get an amen? Amen. That's better. In the mid-1970s, with Sound Beach being much more than a beach community and having year-round needs, the Sound Beach Civic Association was born. In the 1980s, Vilma Rodriguez was the president of the association, and she really advocated for the need of community involvement at all levels. From sprucing up the town to making it more safe by having the town of Brookhaven install stop lines and stop signs, and even parking for cars at the town square, Vilma and the association was moving Sound Beach in the right direction. In 1991, the Civic Association began a nearly 30-year fight to protect a 10-acre site on the bluffs of Sound Beach from being developed into condominiums. This area is known as Steiner's Woods. For years, there were rumors that this area was a long-lost cemetery. And in 2012, the area was hit by Superstorm Sandy, which caused great erosion. When the storm passed, a 19th century headstone was found intact at the bottom of the bluffs. On it was etched the names of 2 young children who lived in the late 1880s. Research revealed no information on these children, and before the stone could be relocated for safekeeping, it mysteriously disappeared. Victory was had in 2019 when the town of Brookhaven purchased the Steiner's land for $5 million and will preserve the site as open space. Starting in 2011, the Civic Association hosted pet adopt-a-thons. The goal of these events was to encourage responsible pet ownership while providing a venue for local rescue groups to get animals adopted. For many years, Sal and Gina Mingoya, a father and daughter team, donated their time and musical talents to this event. Sadly, Sal lost the battle with cancer in 2017, and Gina, knowing how important the event was to her dad, went on to perform without him. The event is now named in his honor. The Civic Association has continued on making so many improvements to the area. This photo from 2014 was taken during the unveiling of the new "Welcome to Sound Beach" sign, made possible by funds the association secured. The association in 2016 was instrumental in a 4-phase plan developed to revitalize Echo Avenue, making it safer, pedestrian-friendly, and more aesthetically pleasing. In 2015, the association adopted an area on New York Avenue, and with the help of the North Shore Youth Council, they cleaned the area and did some planting. This Adopt-A-Spot location has been utilized now for many events. There was a community-wide garage sale in 2018, and in 2021, a tribute was held there to honor healthcare workers, first responders, and other essential workers on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, just on the other side of the street, Civic members also planted a garden at the Children's Park. In 1997, a memorial dedicated to the Sound Beach Fallen was established. It's located at the Children's Park on New York Avenue, and in addition to this, Kerry P. Hine, who died in the Persian Gulf War, is remembered by New York Avenue being named after him. The town also remains proud of our Bronze Star Medal recipient James Henke for his acts of heroism within the Vietnam War. In 2007, in cooperation with the town of Brookhaven, Suffolk County, and New York State, the Civic Association secured the funding to see the proposed plan of William Pellins Jr. come to fruition. A Veterans Memorial Park was installed, and most of it was completed, but it took the generosity of Civic Treasurer Anne Moran and other donors to see the final touches put in place years later. Plaques on the memorial wall honor the 7 fallen residents of Sound Beach. Today, ceremonies are held here for both Memorial Day and Veterans Day. It's a wonderful opportunity for members of the town to gather for these significant holidays as we honor those who have served our country and sometimes paying the ultimate price. The future of Sound Beach is now in the hands of our children. We strive to engage young people into public service for the benefit of our community. The Curtin family is a shining example, with all 3 of their daughters stepping up in amazing ways, from initiating a beach cleanup, collecting books for children in need, and providing toys to sick children. Each year, local scouts participate to help keep Sound Beach clean. And on Memorial Day, they take time out to place flags on the grave sites of our war veterans. As part of his Eagle Scout project, Stephen Sarich helped install 2 benches and a planter at the Adopt-A-Spot location on New York Avenue. Brianna Florio has done so much for the community, from mentoring our youth to donating her time to such great causes as conducting a toy drive, equipping a playroom at a Halo shelter, and so much more. She has been honored with the Girl Scout Ambassador Level Gold Award, the highest award available to Girl Scouts. Sound Beach today is a bustling, year-round community. The Sound Beach Property Owners Association continues their good work of ensuring safe access to the beaches and the management of the historic clubhouse. From creating a free library on the bluffs to hosting an annual field day, their work is paramount to the pleasures of the residents. Sound Beach's history adds to its charm and charisma, but here we see a beautiful red-tailed hawk adding to its beauty. Well, sort of. Welcome to Sound Beach.
Welcome to Sound Beach.
Welcome to Sound Beach.
Welcome to Sound Beach.
Hi, I'm Bob Bedrosian of Bedrosian Real Estate. Welcome to Sound Beach, best town on the North Shore.
Welcome to Sound Beach. Hey, welcome to Sound Beach.
Welcome to Sound Beach.
I hope you have enjoyed this video. It would not have been possible without the efforts of the Sound Beach Civic Association and its members dedicated to the Sound Beach History Project. But all great projects start with an idea and a vision. And Bea Ruberto, the current president of the Sound Beach Civic Association, has been a driving force of so much in the town. It was her interest in exploring this town's history that was the genesis of the research. She has since written a book entitled Our Town, Our Story, and her book is the foundation of this video. My name is Leon Adler, and in addition to being the narrator and creator of this video, I am a 30-year resident of Sound Beach myself. Thank you for watching.
Hi, I'm Sarah Anker, your Suffolk County legislator for the 6th District. I want to thank all the folks involved in creating this amazing movie that I hope you enjoyed. Sound Beach is an incredible community, and thanks to folks like Bea Ruberto and her sister Ernestine that created this book, Sound Beach, Our Town, Our Story. There is so much history here, and it's so important that we learn from the past so we can move forward in the future. Congratulations, Sound Beach. Thank you, Leon Adler, for your amazing documentary. And again, enjoy this beautiful hometown and the people that have created it.